Alright, welcome back to Harvest Moon Farm. My name is Mickey if you're new here. Today we are going to make some creamy lemon chicken and pasta. So the first thing, I've got some chicken breasts here. They're fairly small. And we want to slice this into thin cutlets, which this is pretty thin. I'm just gonna clean up some of this a little bit. What I might do is just pound these thin. Alright, these are actually pretty thin, so I don't think I need to cut them. Alright, so we're gonna season our chicken with salt and pepper, and then we are going to dredge it in flour. Actually, I think I'm just gonna add salt and pepper to my flour and dredge it. So we need 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Ah, my thumb is stuck. And I'm just eyeballing this, like I do a lot of things. All right, and then we need some salt and some pepper. About 1/4 teaspoon of each. All right, just gonna stir this up a little bit. And we're gonna just dredge these in the flour. So in our skillet, we're going to put about 1 tablespoon of olive oil, or 2 tablespoons, sorry, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So we'll start that heating up, and then I'm going to get some butter. And we want about 1 tablespoon of butter in there. We're going to mix this all around. We're going to let our butter melt. Alright, we're going to try this little piece first and see if the skillet's hot enough. And it's not. We're going to let it heat up just another couple minutes. So we're going to put our chicken in our skillet. And we want to put it on medium, and we're going to let these cook about 4 or 5 minutes on each side, or until they are browned and completely done. Now if you've got large pieces of chicken breast, you want to make sure that you do not crowd your pan. So if you need to work in batches, then go ahead and do that. While that's cooking, I'm going to go get a jar of chicken stock, and we'll be right back. Our chicken is done. Woo! And it's super smoky in here. I got my range fan going. So we're going to set our chicken to the side. We're going to add another tablespoon of butter to our pan. 3 cloves or 3 teaspoons of garlic. Now let this cook for just a minute. And then we're going to add a cup of chicken stock. We want to turn our heat down just a little bit. And I did start a pot of water boiling over here, and I'm going to add a little bit of salt to it. That'll be for our pasta. So to this sauce we've got started in our pan, now we're going to add a cup of heavy cream. Four teaspoons of lemon juice. And a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Whoa! So we got a little more than half a cup there, but that'll be okay. So we're going to mix all this together. It'll just be cheesier than we thought it was going to be. And then, ow, my pan's hot. Then we want to let this simmer for just a couple of minutes. And then we'll add a little bit more salt and pepper, or I'll add a little bit of salt and pepper to this, and then we'll give it a taste. Alright, so we're going to give this a little taste. Ooh. Ooh, yummy. That is delicious. So our water is starting to boil. So I am adding some of my homemade noodles. And let's see. That should be plenty. I'm going to turn the sauce down to low. And I am going to add some broccoli to my pasta water because it's frozen. And then the broccoli will cook as the pasta cooks. Okay, so here we go. Whoa, so I put my pasta and broccoli in the bottom. I put a couple pieces of chicken on the top, and then I poured the sauce over it. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of shredded Parmesan over the top of that. And then we're gonna take a bite. Maybe, if I can get my chicken, there we go. That is amazing. So you could also pour this sauce over rice. That would be good. And we almost always have rice in the house, so that would have been a good option. Maybe we'll do that next time. But that lemon and cheese mixed together is really, really good. All right, so I'm gonna eat my dinner. When my husband gets home, I'll go ahead and fix his plate and warm it up. And then I will see you tomorrow for the next recipe. Okay, so we still have quite a few eggs left from last fall before our chickens stopped laying. And so I whipped up a bunch yesterday and put them in my freeze dryer trays. I'd already done it before I thought about filming it, so sorry about that. But here they are, they're all done. So I'm gonna put these chunks in my blender and blend it up into a powder. And then I'm going to put it in some jars for storage. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend this up. I'll be right back. All right, so here's our last batch going into the jar. Hopefully I don't make as big of a mess with this one as I did with the last one. But now all we need to do, we can use this any place we would normally use an egg that we're gonna beat up. So you can make scrambled eggs with it. You can add it to your baked goods, any place that you're going to use an egg. And you just reconstitute it by using 2 tablespoons of the powdered egg and 2 tablespoons of water, and that is the equivalent of a single whole egg. So there we go. Now we've got, I don't know, maybe 6 dozen eggs down to 2 quart-sized jars, and so now we've got those preserved up so they are not going to go bad. All right, we're back. I'm going to got a couple things I'm doing tonight. I made some of the cookies that I had in the freezer, and I had them after my lunch, and I managed to apparently drop a chocolate chip on my chest, and I didn't see it till it had melted all over my shirt, so oh well. Okay, so for dinner tonight I am making a homemade hamburger helper, but I'm also, before I get that started, I'm going to put some bacon on this cookie sheet. I've got a piece of parchment paper on here, and I'm just going to put this in the oven to cook. I had some cooked bacon in my freezer before the holidays, but we ended up using it all on Christmas morning, so I need to get some more cooked up, so I've got it to use in some other dishes. And it's all still frozen. Okay, so my bacon's in the oven, and first thing we're going to do for our dinner is we need 1 pound of ground beef, and we're going to brown that up. let that start cooking. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and chop up an onion. And since I made some more stock and used the bag of veggies that was in my freezer, I am going to go ahead and put the onion peel and ends in a new bag in my freezer. So we're just going to chop this onion. So I'm going to cut it in sort of small pieces, but not like minced. Onion is chopped up in pieces about like that. And I'm going to get a bowl because once our ground beef is done cooking, we're going to take it out of our pan. And then we're going to cook our onion and some garlic in this. And the instructions say to leave about 2 tablespoons, yes, about 2 tablespoons of your ground beef grease in your pan. The meat that I have is grass-fed and grass-finished, so it doesn't have that much. So I may need to add a little bit of olive oil or something into my skillet when I take the ground beef out. All right, so I'm going to remove this to this bowl. And I'm going to put my onions in, or my onion, I guess, it was just one. And I am going to add a little bit of olive oil to this since I didn't have a lot of grease left. We're going to cook this for about 5 minutes. So that our onions start to get soft. Burner for a minute. And now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And we're going to stir and cook this for about a minute. And so now we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of beef broth. I am actually using store-bought beef broth, even though I have some in my pantry, because I found this when I was cleaning out my kitchen pantry, and it is older than anything I have in my storage. So I'm going to go ahead and get it used up first. Get it used up first. I'm just going to pour this in slowly and stir it into our onion and garlic and flour mix. And then we're going to bring this mixture all to a boil. Alright, so now that this mixture is boiling, we're going to add 8 ounces of tomato sauce, a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, which I'm just going to have to kind of wing it because mine is a grinder. That looks like a teaspoon-ish. A teaspoon of seasoned salt. Half a teaspoon of, smoked paprika. I got regular paprika out, but I have smoked. Let's see. Here we go. A half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. And a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. We're going to mix this all up. And we're going to add 2 cups of pasta. I'm using the shells because that's what I have. Pour that into our mix. I'll stir this in. I'm going to turn this down. And I'm going to put a lid on this, and we're going to let it simmer for about 12 to 15 minutes. So putting the lid on this is going to just help hold that steam in so our pasta cooks. Right, put all my seasonings away. I really need to organize this drawer again. Okay, so I've got the timer going on that. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get some cheese shredded. So I need 2 cups of cheddar cheese, so I'm going to go ahead and get that shredded. While the pasta and the rest of that mixture is cooking. Alright, so this is about 2 cups, so I will save this to put in our hamburger helper. And then I'm going to go ahead and grate up this other hunk that I have and put it in a bag in the refrigerator, and then I'll cover up the end of that I cut off of, because we don't want to let that go too long before we get it all shredded. But I'm not going to shred it today. Because my arm feels like it's going to fall off already, just the bit that I've done. And I do have a shredder attachment for my KitchenAid, but I'd have to go to the other room and get it and put it together and clean it up, and I'm just way too lazy. So I'm just gonna do this much today, and I will get the rest of it shredded up another day this week. And I'll probably shred it and put some of it in the freezer so that it doesn't go bad before we get it eaten. All right, there's that hunk. Let me get a bag so I can put it away. All right, so I've got this much cheese shredded up for whatever we might want to use it for this week. I've got my bowl to put in my hamburger helper. And then I'm going to get some plastic wrap and wrap this up really well so that it doesn't get hard on the end that I've cut. All right, so I've got this all wrapped up. I'm gonna stick it in the refrigerator, and I will get the rest of it shredded up later this week. All right, our pasta's done. So just make sure. Oh, just get a noodle out of here. Ooh, yummy. Yeah, the pasta's done. Oh, not quite. All right, so the pasta is not quite done, but there's no more liquid. I'm gonna add a little bit of my beef broth so that it's got some liquid to soak up. And I'll let that cook another couple of minutes. And then I'll add the rest of our ingredients. All right, so now you're going to add in a half a cup of cream. And our 2 cups of cheese. And we're going to let this cook until the cheese is all melted. And the cheese I had was a white cheddar, so the dish looks more creamy colored than if I'd had like yellow cheddar. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt and some pepper. go ahead and stir that in. This looks so good. All right, and then before I add my ground beef back in, I'm going to give it a taste and see if it needs more salt and pepper, or pepper, whichever. All right, let's see here. Oh my gosh, that is so good. And I think it needs just a little more pepper. I'll go ahead and stir that in, and then I'm going to add my ground beef back in here. My pan's pretty full. I'm going to add this back in and stir it in here. Best as I can. And once you add your meat back in, you may need to test your seasonings again, because I did not season the meat, so it may need a little more salt once you've added this in here. I'm just going to put the lid back on for a couple of minutes until that meat is all heated back through, and then we'll be done and ready to eat. Oh, I think I burned my bacon. I did. Well, that's okay. I like it crispy. Oh, let me get a paper towel. So I'm just going to take this off and put it on a paper plate that's got some paper towel on it. Ow. I'm going to let it finish draining. Ouchie. Back here away from the dog. And when this is cool, I'm either going to put it in my refrigerator or my freezer. I'm not sure which. I want to use some of it to make some breakfast items. I think I'm going to make scrambled egg, bacon, and cheese mixture to do breakfast burritos, or I might just make the mixture itself. I'm not sure yet, but I'm looking for something that'll be an easy breakfast for myself and my husband throughout the week. I am so messy, my goodness. Get stuff on my counter, or well, on my counters too, but I get stuff on my stove every time I cook. Even when it's stuff that I shouldn't get on my stove, but that's okay, I guess. All right, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to dish some of this up for my dinner. My husband won't be home for a while. And I am going to move this back so that it's not sitting on that burner. I don't want it to stick to the bottom while that burner is still hot. All right, so here we go. Our homemade hamburger helper. So let me give this a taste now that I added the meat back in. That is really good. I think it does need a little bit more salt. I'm just going to salt my own versus salting the whole pan, and then my husband can salt if he wants to. He tries to not do too much salt. All right, let me stir this up. And let's give it another taste. That's way better. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
I've always liked Hamburger Helper. When I was growing up, my mom made it quite a bit because it was my mom and me and my 3 sisters, and it was an easy, inexpensive meal. But this doesn't even compare. This is amazing. All right, so I'm gonna eat my dinner. My husband will eat when he gets home. I've got my bacon cooked, and I'll think about what I want to make with it, and I'll be back tomorrow. All right, so for dinner tonight, I am making some honey soy chicken thighs. So we're gonna start with our marinade. And I can't get my printer to work right this minute, so I'm working off my phone. So we need 3 tablespoons of olive oil, a half a teaspoon of ginger, and the recipe calls for chopped ginger, but all I have is powdered, so that's what I'm going to use. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Four teaspoons of minced garlic. And then we're going to add 5 tablespoons of honey, but I've got it in the microwave because it's solidified. Oh my gosh, there we go. And then we're just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, so I'll add that while the honey's in the microwave. Woo! Don't want to go too crazy. All right, let's see if we can get this out. There's 1, 2, and 5. There we go. All right, we've got 5 tablespoons of honey, so I'm just going to stir this up a little bit. Okay, so now we want to take our chicken, we're going to put it in the marinade. So I have the leg quarters, leg wing, or leg thighs, whatever, from the chickens that I took that breast meat off of for our lemon chicken we made the other day. So I'm just going to put these in the marinade. Go ahead and make sure I've got some over the top of this chicken. Just spooning it over. Okay, so now we're going to preheat our oven to 400 and we're going to let this marinate. All right, so we need to let this chicken marinate for about an hour, so I've got about another 15 minutes or so. So I am going to cut up some potatoes. I thought I had some baby potatoes, but I must have used them and just don't remember. So I'm just going to cut these potatoes up in pieces. I'm not going to peel them. All right, I am going to boil these until they are almost done, and then I'm going to put them in with the chicken when I put it in the oven. All right, so we'll get that going. When the potatoes are done, our hour should be up on our marinating our chicken, and then we'll get everything going in the oven. Okay, the potatoes are
mostly cooked, which is all I was looking for. So I strained those. And I've had my cast iron skillet here in the oven, heating up with the oven. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom. And then I'm going to take my chicken pieces and I'm just going to put them, whoops, in my skillet. I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest of our marinade in there. Ooh, get that big blob of honey out, and we want that in there. Alright, and now I'm just going to kind of put my potatoes in around the chicken. Actually, let me get a spoon. I'm just kind of putting it where the chicken isn't. Alright, so the recipe actually called for boneless chicken thighs. Mine have bone in. So I'm going to cook them about 20 minutes and then I'm going to, I guess I should leave that out. I'm going to cook them about 20 minutes and then I'm going to use some tongs to flip the chicken over and then we'll let it keep cooking another 15 or 20 minutes and see how it looks. Alright, so we'll be back in 20 minutes to see how those chicken pieces look. Alright, our first 20 minutes, oh goodness, is done. Oh my goodness, that looks yummy. So I'm going to flip my chicken over, try and squeeze it back in around the potatoes. Oh, that smells so good. And these leg quarters, these are pretty small. They came from our chickens that were pretty small. It was the first year that we had done our own chickens for meat, and so they didn't get really big. So these might not take more than this 35 minutes. But I've got those flipped. I'm gonna go ahead and set it, I'm gonna do 18 minutes, and then we'll check it again. And then if they look like they're done, then we are going to go ahead and do a few minutes under the broiler and just to brown up the top, and then it should be ready. Alrighty, let's see. Ooh, what this looks like. It's looking good. Alright, I think these are done. They're about to come off the bone when I pull up on them. So I'm going to flip them over once more. Whoops. Slide them back in. And we're going to put it under the broiler for just a few minutes. All right, let's take this out. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. Do you guys see that? Oh, yummy. I was gonna wait for my husband today, but now that I smell this, oh, I'm gonna have some now. So I'm just gonna get this little one. And a spoon of potatoes. Alright, so this is blistering hot, but let me try a little piece of potato. Ooh, that's good. That's got that, some of that honey soy sauce on there. So let me, oh, our chicken's done because it just came right off the bone. That's delicious. All right, I am going to eat my chicken and potatoes. Excuse me, when my husband gets home, he can go ahead and warm his plate up, although, yeah, he'll probably have to warm it up. It's going to be a little while before he gets home. And he can eat, and we'll probably add, I've got some green beans in the refrigerator that I just need to warm up that are left over from the other day. So I'll warm those up, add those to my plate, and then we'll have a nice dinner. And I think this is going to be it for this video. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me this week. Today is Thursday, February 9th. So we're just finishing up our first full week of February for the Pantry Challenge. So I don't know if we're in week 5 or week 6, I'm not sure. But anyway, I've really been enjoying it. I've tried so many new recipes with you guys, and we have not eaten out once, so that's good for us. And if you guys are not currently subscribed, I would urge you to consider subscribing. Just have to hit that subscribe button, and then if you want notifications when my new videos come out, you can hit the notification bell. And I will just see you guys on the next video. Thank you very much.